Hey, my tight curly girlies and coily creatives. My name is Nicole, and if you've been here a while, you might be most used to me making content around simple natural hair care. But guess what? Once you simplify your routine, then you got a bunch of time to devote toward other interests like sewing. So today I'm going to talk about my current sewing project that's using McCall's pattern 8438. So if that's something that interests you, keep watching. I'm so glad you're still here. So let's talk about sewing patterns. So when you go to your local fabric store, wherever you get sewing patterns, even if you're shopping online, the first thing that I would like you to do is look at which view, right? This one has 3 views. So it has this one, that's view B, that's the long coat with sleeves. It has this one, that is view C, that has the mid-length coat with no sleeves. And then it has this one, view A, which is the mid-length coat with sleeves. So I love this pattern because it's fairly simple. It only has one button detail and it ties at the waist. So that gives you flexibility, like with the size and the fit. So I really think this one is beginner to intermediate friendly. Definitely a breeze if you're advanced. I love that it's fully lined. And so look at, so you picked which view you want, right? Don't be like me. I thought I was gonna make this view because I had already bought a fabric a while ago and I thought I had bought 4 yards when I only bought 3.5. So I didn't have enough fabric to do view B, but I do have enough fabric to do view A. So once you decide which view you want, then look on the back of the pattern. You have all this wonderful information about the measurements. So this one tells you what the body measurements are that each size corresponds to. So when you go to the store, you need to have an idea of what your measurements are, not what your store size is, but what the measurements are. And then depending on which size your measurements corresponds with, then you want to see what's the width of the fabric that you're using. I'm using a fabric that's more along the 60 inches width. So then I would choose the yardage according to that. If you get one that's a 45-inch width that's narrower, then you need to choose the fabric amount that corresponds with that. Then the suggested fabric for this, boiled wool, flannel, wool blends, wool flannel. I would add to that personally tweeds would be a good fabric with a good weight for this, as well as like some quilted type fabrics, or even if you have a old or new like thin quilt, I would say you could use that to make a quilt coat using this pattern. Okay, so those are the main things that you want to know, so that when you're at the fabric store getting the pattern, or when you're looking through your fabric stash trying to pick out a fabric for this coat, then you can select the right amount of fabric for the view you want, know what size to cut out, all of those things. You need 2 buttons, 2 1-inch buttons, it says. So I guess we'll find out later. Where's the other button? I see 1 button clearly on the front here, but we'll get into that. So yeah, fabric selection. So what I chose, like a while ago, I chose this wool cashmere blend from Mood Fabrics. This is called Ocean Blue. I bought it a couple of years ago because right now this is like $45 a yard, this fabric. Look at the thickness of it. Not too thick. I live in the South, you know, good thickness. So it'll still have, you know, some good movement. If you wanted to, you can make like a matching skirt to go with your coat. But when I bought this fabric, the reason I bought it is because I had been eyeing it for a while, and at that time, maybe it was like $39.99 a yard, and Mood had a sale, and I got it for like 20-something a yard. Yeah, but I should have got 4 yards. So that's the fabric I've chose, wool. That would be a wool blend, wool and cashmere. And then for the lining is where you can get a bit fun. I got this green lining from Joann Fabrics. It was on sale, so I only paid, what, $4 or $5 a yard for it. And it's shop smarter. not harder. I know people say sewing is expensive, but no, it's not, because you have to compare apples to apples. So if you're comparing a handmade garment that you made that's custom at your home to a garment that you can buy at the store, that's not comparing apples to apples. You need to compare your custom made garment cost to the price it would cost you to get a custom made garment or designer garment from somewhere else. Then you'll see how you're saving money. Okay, tell your friends, it's the truth. A lot of times we compare price, and things aren't just about price. They're about quality. They're about the labor and expertise that goes into something. So it's not fair to like look at one house, you know, like in the housing market, you say, oh, this house costs more than this house, but it has double the square footage and it has full, you know, new appliances in it. And, you know, it's in a nicer, appealing new, you know, area. All those factor in to price. Y'all know that. So just think about that. If you're like, oh, it's expensive, or that's expensive, compare it to what? Because if you want to get a wool cashmere coat custom made out in these streets, you know, like you be seeing in Vogue and things like that, it could cost you a couple $1,000s. And so if you only spent like $100 on your fabric and materials, and then, you know, your labor, then aren't you saving? Aren't you saving? So another great thing to do before you start sewing, like, right, we got to do the prep work. So I've already cut out my pattern pieces, but it's to, even when you're at the fabric store, I like to open up these patterns and look at them just to see what's all involved, to see, even though it's cute, like, do I even want to get into this? So this one, it really helped me when you look at the layout, how you should lay the fabric out. I use this layout for the 60 inches with the nap right here for the fabric layout. And so that really helped. And then for the lining, I kind of looked at it and then I just fit it in because I had more of the lining fabric available. So I didn't use the lining fabric guide. I just went, you know, intuitively by what I thought. But this is very helpful if you're not used to laying out fabrics in the most efficient way on a pattern, then definitely pay attention to this. Over here, it lets you know, depending on what view, these are all the pieces that are illustrated. What pieces do you need for the coat you want? And for this coat, the pieces that you need for the outside of the coat aren't the same as the inside of the coat. So for the outside of the coat, you need 1, 2, buckle my shoe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 11 for the outside. Then for the lining, you need 2, 3, 5, 9, and 10. And then for the interfacing, then there's, where's the interfacing? Oh, here. For interfacing, you only have to do interfacing for 1, 7, 11, and number 8. So that's good to know too going into it. And once you get that cut out, whew, that was the hardest part for me, is laying it out and cutting it out. So now that that's done, I'm really excited. Everything else will be a breeze. I like to, after you've cut out all your pieces, make sure that you transfer all of your markings onto your fabric, so that'll make for an easier sewing experience. So yeah, those are my suggestions. That's what I have to, where I'm at so far, is cutting everything out. I haven't started sewing anything yet. Put your questions that you might have in the comments. I know this is fairly new, and I hope that you will get this pattern and sew it along with me, and I can see what you created. Let me know in the comments. Do you have any questions about the pattern? Do you have questions about, more questions about suggestions for fabrics and where you can get them? Like I said, I got this one from Mood. I looked at my local Joann website to look at their like coating fabric selection, and I didn't really see ones that I liked. And also let me know if there's other fabric places where you like to get your fabric that you would use for this coat. If you have suggestions on how you would do it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.